been a part of this industry for over a decade now. What's one thing you know now that you wish you knew when you started this whole career?
Um, I guess I wish I would have known that I wasn't as much of an inconvenience to other people as I believed. And even if I believed that it was okay to still put myself out there anyway. But I think out of being afraid of inconveniencing other people, I kept inside of my shell a lot of
Mm.
times and didn't pursue friendships or relationships or even opportunities because I was like, oh, they wouldn't really want to work with me, or they wouldn't really like me once they got to know me, and things like that.
And of all the music that you've released, if you had to pick one song that best encompasses who you are as an artist, which would it be and why?
That encompasses me as an artist, like of my own songs.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's very interesting. uh, I guess I would say, ooh, goodness gracious. I mean, the song that fuels my career is Crush, but I don't know if like the message necessarily encapsulates all of me. But I think the song is what I'm known for. But aside from that, I guess I have a song called Numb that would, I don't know. That's a hard question, Kevin. Dang. um, shoot. I maybe Brave. Let me just go with that. There's a song called Brave on my last album. And for now, I would just say that pretty much that has a lot of who I am and what I struggle with, but that I still have potential to become more, and I can be brave, even in spite of all the negative thoughts that I deal with. And there's still a hope. So it encapsulates a lot for me. And the rhythm, I was inspired by like Hillsong and also Billie Eilish. So it's like this weird mix of influences and thoughts for me. So yeah, I guess that would be my answer
Yeah,
right now.
great answer. And you recently shared in another interview that you took a little break from music. Why was that pause so important to you? And what did you learn about yourself during that time?
Yeah, well, in 2012, I took a break from music, and a lot of people thought I was pretty nuts for it, but I feel like I really needed it because it just kind of helped remind me, I was in that group of like young um, teenage pop artists of the 2000s, and it was just kind of like you start feeling like you're just losing yourself
Mm.
because you're trying to be what everyone wants you to be. Like you're trying to be cool and a famous teen pop star and all this stuff. And I'm just like, I can keep trying this, but I'm feeling like I'm missing something. And I feel like I'm just feeling empty. And so when I went to Chile for 2 years. I was a missionary, and I didn't have any social media. And it just kind of gave me time to be like, okay, instead of worrying about what everyone thinks of me and if I'm cool enough and if I'm gaining more followers and selling more albums, like I'm just helping other people. And it was like a complete 180, because I'm like, wow, just like a couple months ago, I was focused on completely different things. And now I'm just like serving people and like teaching them about my faith and teaching them how to pray and helping them paint their houses and whatever, Um, so it just taught me that I could still be happy even if I wasn't popular anymore. Because I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose my career and everything I worked for. And that's what everyone told me. I was like, what the heck am I doing? And I'm like, am I psycho? But it just taught me like my value isn't in what other people think of me and how famous I am, or if I'm not famous anymore, I can still be happy and still have purpose and still matter. And yeah, life isn't just about being a famous pop star. That's what
Yeah,
I
that's a,
learned.
Yeah, it's a great message. You've got a new single out now. Can you tell us about Moving, the inspiration behind the single, and the decision to release two versions of the track?
Yeah, I 2020 I released an album called Therapy Session, so it was a little heavier, um, more like mental health and my issues and trying to figure myself out. And so I'm like, okay. And then we had a pandemic, worldwide. And so in 2021, I'm like, I just want to like have some fun. I just want something a little more lighthearted and just having a good time, just to kind of take a break from all the heaviness of 2020. And so moving was just like, it's just fun. I wanted to get people moving. And then the producer, he made another version of the song. He's like, hey, what do you think of this direction? I'm like, oh, I really like that too. And I'm super indecisive. I can't make up my mind about anything. And so I was like, oh, which one? I don't know. Maybe I can have people vote for a clip. And I'm like, no, I'm just going to release both because I like both of them. I can't decide. So I did. I released Movin' and then I released Movin' After Hours.
And the music video also finds you performing some choreography. Have you always been a dancer? What was that process like?
Oh my gosh, no, I've not always been a dancer. I I I wanted to go out of my comfort zone. I like to dance. It doesn't mean I'm good at it. I'm stiff. I have stiff shoulders and back and hips. So I was like, I'm just going to 2021 was about going out of my comfort zone. 2022, but 2020 as well, I should say. Because 2022 is next year. But so it was just to go out of my comfort zone. Choreography, I want to do more because it's actually really fun. I really have a fun time dancing, even though I'm not great at it.
No, you did a great job with the music video.
Thank
And
you.
then later this year, you're getting ready to release your first ever children's book. What has that transition been like, adapting one of your songs into this format?
Oh man, I'm usually excited about releasing stuff. I'm so excited about this children's book because I love kids. And I thought about my nieces and my nephews, and if I have kids in the future, my future kids, because it's called My Little Prayer. It was a song I had in a dream. I didn't even write it. It just like popped up in my dream, and I was told to wake up and write it down, and so I did. And I just looked at it. I'm like, wow, like, should I release this song? Or is it too personal? I'm like, I'm gonna release it because I think that's why I was told to write it down. And it just reminded me of when I was in South America for 2 years and took a break, because the number one thing I did there was like teach people how to pray. And I was like, that's important for me. It's a huge part of my everyday. And a lot of people don't know how to pray. So I'm like, maybe this can be an opportunity to teach them something that has been super helpful in my life, just to let them know that they can just speak, even if they can't see what's out there, that they can know that they can connect to something bigger than them. And for me, my Heavenly Father. And so I was, things don't always go the way we want them to, or how we hope and what we ask for. Sometimes we're disappointed, and that's kind of the point of the book and the song, that even though you can have disappointments and it doesn't go how you wished it would at first, you can still be happy and you can still find joy and purpose, and that there's a bigger picture for you.
Did anything surprise you about the process of putting together your first book?
I guess I didn't realize how easy it would be. Like, that's right. Like, you can collaborate with, not like you don't just collaborate with other creators in writing a song. You can collaborate with an illustrator like Sarah, who is this illustrator for this book, My Little Prayer. And she did such a great job and like just captured what I wanted the message to be so well in pictures and illustrations, in a way that I felt like kids or anyone else would be able to understand. And that was the point of the song too. I wanted it to be easy to understand by anybody. And so I'm just excited. I'm just like, super excited.
Speaking of exciting things, you're also getting ready to hit the road again in 2022. What can fans expect from this upcoming tour?
I'm just, I'm hoping that like yeah, I've had to postpone this 2 years now, and you never know what'll happen, in life. But if everything still goes down with the tour, I'm just excited to share with them my therapy sessions, songs, and just share my story and my journey with them. And I hope that it can help them in their journey. Like my journey is not exactly like everyone else's, but I feel like we can feel insecure. We can wonder, we can feel like something's wrong with us. We can feel like, oh, I'm not good enough to get through this life well. um, but even after all those negative thoughts and questions about if you can do it, I feel like, you know what, I'm still here and I still made it this far. And I can be like, oh, I got through that and I'm happy. And I'm not always happy, but for the most part I am. And, sometimes you just have to try. And as you try, that's where you find the most happiness. Whether you make it or not to what you wanted, just trying brings so much joy, even though it's hard. And sometimes we're like, oh, I don't want to do this. But yeah, I hope that they can just find some motivation and fun, because shows are always fun to do, and just some therapy, that they can find some therapy as they come to the show, whether it's to soothe or just to have fun and rock out or pop out, whatever it is. Pop out.
You've always been so incredibly vulnerable in your craft. Has that always been easy for you? What has it meant for you to see that it's resonating with your fans and music lovers?
I'm so happy, because at first I'm like, oh my gosh, people are gonna think I'm annoying for being this vulnerable, or like too open, or if I'm talking too much about what I'm going, if I'm oversharing, I'm like, oh man, maybe I'm an oversharer and I need to like learn when to shut my mouth and things. But I feel like, you know what, it's who I am, and I've tried to fix it, but it's just, I feel like sometimes people need to be able to relate to someone who is also questioning themselves and insecure about a lot of things, and feels like they're not good enough, and my fear has gotten in the way of my progress a lot of times. I've missed out on a lot of opportunities because of that, but it doesn't mean it's over. I'm still learning. I'm probably still going to miss out on more opportunities because of my fears and my anxieties, but I don't have to miss out on everything. And I can keep trying. I can be brave. I can try and do scary and hard things that I didn't think I could. And maybe there are things that I'll learn by trying that I couldn't do, but at least I knew I tried and did my best. And so if anyone else feels that way, it makes me happy to know that I encourage someone else to be brave and to take courage even when they were scared too.
Talking about being brave, you recently crossed something off your bucket list by skydiving. What's left on that list?
Oh man, well, that was super fun. I loved skydiving. I would do it again. One of my goals is to get abs. I've never had abs. I mean, I'm sure there's somewhere in there, but like I can see, not to necessarily show off to other people. I just always told myself I could never get that. I was like, there's no way I could ever get in that shape, but it's on my goal. I'm dieting. I'm going to the gym. I've been going to the gym, but I recently started really focusing on my diet to make sure that I can cut off what I want to see those abs. So that's one thing. And it's hard. It takes longer than just to set up an appointment and jump out of a plane like skydiving was. It takes a lot more of like daily choices. And when your friends invite you out for pizza or like to go have some, good grub and burgers and stuff, I have to be like, oh, I'm like, do they have grilled chicken there? But it's been great. I feel great. And it is, some rewards take time to get. So I don't have them yet, but it's still on my bucket list, and I'm committed to seeing through with it.
And then we just like to end all of our interviews with a pop culture lightning round. Do you have a band or artist that your fans would be surprised to learn is on your playlist?
I don't know. I feel like I'm pretty honest with them. On my playlist, I mean, Bad Bunny.
Good one.
Listen to Bad Bunny sometimes, some songs. Na, 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 na. Hey. Na, 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 na. I don't remember those. Debajo del sol. Yeah.
What about the first album you ever bought?
The first album I ever bought, I think, was Avril Lavigne's first album.
What about the first concert you ever attended?
It might have been an American Idol concert.
Oh wow, full circle. What about
Yeah.
an album that changed your life and why?
An album that changed my life. I would say Natasha Bedingfield's first album. I think it was Unwritten, is what it was called. I don't know if it was or not, but I have bad memory. But it had the song These Words, and it had Unwritten, and it had a song called Size Matters, and just all these songs that it was life talk, but she was quirky. She was herself. You felt her light and her energy in her songs, her brightness. And it was so encouraging to me because, in her song, These Words, she talked about feeling ADD and not being able to focus. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is someone I can relate to, because I have a hard time focusing and making up my mind and stuff too. But if she can do it, maybe I can too. And so it was super encouraging for me to hear a beautiful girl like her sing soulful and sing pop. Like she was able to combine the two, and I just felt like there's room for someone like me in this industry that maybe. So it was definitely a life changer for me.
We were talking about touring earlier. Is there a venue that's on your bucket list to perform at?
A bucket list place. I mean, it'd be cool to do like Red Rocks in Colorado, or it's a Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah. And then when you're on the road, what's a must-have?
A must-have, my phone. Isn't that everybody's? Like,
Yeah,
what does the phone not have that you need? Other than, I guess, food, but it shows you. It has Yelp. I have Yelp that it shows me where I can find awesome restaurants to go to when I'm traveling.